Good morning, everyone. This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master. We are here with day 98 of Coffee and MTG. But I honestly am more here for the coffee. Oh, delicious cup of coffee. So whether you want to brew up some magic or brew up some coffee, you are in the right place, because here we do Q&A for the first half of the show and then deck list review on the second half of the show. So first we're going to talk all things Magic the Gathering and see what you've brewed up. And if you need feedback, if you need to take your deck to the next level, fix the mana base, fix your win condition, fix the format you're in the right place. Either myself or the community will find the cards right for you and take your deck to a winning degree. Hot Chocolate asks, how do I skip ads? You have, I believe, can no one hear anything? I think that's just you. But if anyone else has that problem, please let me know, because that is very scary. Good morning. But in either case, good morning, Satamane. Remy Strange can hear. So one way you can skip ads, I believe you become a sub. If you sub, you don't see ads anymore. That's what you got to do. If you're subbed and you still see ads, I don't know. That's just how. I heard Twitch is hurting for money these days. Like, they're forcing ads on people. They're squeezing those ads in there. Show is good. Awesome. Good morning, Gus. Good morning, Grateful Mike. There's always an ad before my videos. Yes, that's how Twitch makes the money, and I make barely anything off those ads. Yeah, subs take ads away. So all you have to do is, and there are multiple ways you can sub. By the way, this is September, by the way. So you get, I think it's half off, if I understand, if you sub to me. But in addition to that, other ways you can sub is with your Amazon Prime. Link Amazon Prime with your Twitch, and boom, you can support me. And all the ads will disappear, if that is such a big deal. I don't know. Does ad blocker also work? I use ad block. I guess I need a better one. Amazon invented the ad. I guess they didn't, but whatever. I'm sure they have enough power to get around that crap. Good morning, Ryan Taylor MTG. Good morning, Satamane. So Belcher then. Yeah, Belcher is winning like immediately. So we already have some confirmed 5-0s out of Belcher. Does anyone have like a link to a Twitter post about this? Someone send me a link to somebody winning with Belcher, with like a winning Belcher list. Belcher's already on the way. I wish there was like a good like deck list we could see, like an actual published list, but like it's a little bit too early right now. The results are just coming in, or unless Wizards published something last night, which I doubt it. Because I think they published. Is there a single Belcher list published? Good morning, Branchwalker JV. Without ads and subs, you don't have Nikachu shitting on control every day. That's right. You got it. What is the date today? Today is the 17th. No, there's nothing officially published by Wizards of the Coast yet. But there's some people. Yeah, there we go. MTG Magus is all about it. All about it. Okay, let's go check out. I can't view all the cards because I don't even know. I can't even remember what most of these cards do right now. Okay, so first off, Sebastian Stukel, MTG Magus on Twitter, made 5-0 with this list. And yeah, and maybe this is maybe this is going to prove the point that Veil of Summer needs to be banned if it actually ends up really taking off. Of course, the metagame has not adjusted to it yet. When Neoform first came out, it was a problem. Like, it was doing relatively well. And then eventually people said, no, you know what? Screw your deck. We don't like losing on turn 0, so we're going to actually build our decks to beat you. And, Neoform is now just beyond struggling at this point. So we'll see how this one works out. Also a very, very powerful deck. So if you don't know, Goblin Charbelcher is an artifact for 4 mana. Pay 3, tap, reveal cards on the top of your library until you reveal a land card, and you deal damage equal to the number of cards revealed this way to any target, including you. Oh, look at that. Os390 just subscribed. Thank you very much, Os390. And thanks to your sub, you will no longer be badgered by you will no longer be badgered by ads. That's how you get rid of the ads. Just be like Os90. Os390. Welcome, good morning. So I think land grant could be abused too. Yeah, maybe we don't know the final form of this deck yet. What if Modern unbanned Chromox? Well, I don't know if Chromox is fair, but honestly, Simian Spirit Guide is like in the same territory, right? Except that only costs one. Well, okay, it's permanent though, right? I think we don't want too much fast mana in the format, honestly. If Modern unbanned Chromox, there would be more combo decks for sure. What new tech is making this a deck? They get to play, because of Zendikar Rising's dual modal cards of being a spell and a land, they can the Goblin Charbelcher will treat every single one of the lands as a spell. See, old Charbelcher decks had like a few lands in it, like 6, 7, or 8 or something like that, and then they played a lot of cards to find the lands, but it still was a very clunky idea. Now, no lands in this deck. Nothing. There are no pure lands. All the lands are spells. And because of that, they have a mana base that they can put lands in play while also being able to cast Goblin Charbelcher, and then when they activate it, mill the entire opponent in one shot, or not mill, hit their entire opponent in one shot, because they will go through their entire deck because there are no actual lands in the deck. So that is what is putting this deck over the top. And I guess I don't know the specific interactions of this deck. Return to our card from here. Like it can win very early, I guess, because of the rituals. They got tons of rituals. Look at this: Pyretic Ritual, Desperate Ritual, Metamorphose. We have Recross the Path. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Clash into the opponent. If you win, return this thing back to your hand. Oh yeah, okay, so the interaction here is that you can put the cards back into your library in any order. You'll never find a land, but the point is you will order your deck in the exact way that you'll just basically win from there. And the Simian Spirit Guide, this is like a better version of Storm, basically. It's almost like Storm and what's it called? Ad Nauseam at a Love Child together. But this is literally basically a one-card combo. It's a one-card combo now in Modern. It requires a little bit of setup, and I imagine that there are answers for this deck. There are answers, like, for example, okay, they're going to, like, they do have the answers to the answers in the sideboard, but they do have to respect things like Pithing Needle. I mean, if you Pithing Needle Goblin Charbelcher, like, what do you do? How do you win the game from there? Do you do anything? Do you start getting into the red zone with Simian Spirit Guide? What do you do? I don't have a link to the actual deck. Mind Funeral can mill the whole deck. Oh, that's interesting. So that, I mean, we'll see where this goes. Wizards didn't ban Neoform, so it's very possible that we're going to be going down a road where every so often there's going to be some like turn 2 combo deck, and it's according to Sebastian. No, maybe it wasn't Sebastian. It was somebody else. There was some theorizing how often this combo could go off, and it can go off relatively often between turns 2 and 3, and then the rest of the time by turn 4. The upside to ads is that they are memeable. Oh yeah, so because they don't have any actual lands to go find, or like no basics, you can Ghost Quarter and Field of Ruin them, and that will be, I mean, they're Wasteland basically at that point. And Field of the Ruin is even better than Wasteland. Good morning, Basic Land Shark. Good morning, Mr. Ryan, if I remember correctly. It's not even activating Belcher that matters. More importantly, having no lands in the deck turns Recross the Path into literal doomsday. I don't remember what Doomsday does exactly. What is Iron Crag Feet? This is also a new card. 4 mana, add 7 mana. You can cast only one more spell this turn. Oh, that's actually fantastic because all you need... Oh, sorry, people can't see. Oh, this is a fantastic card in this deck because you add 7 mana, you just put Belcher in play, and then that's it. You have 7 mana. Pay 4 mana for Belcher, pay 3 mana, activate it. GG. They didn't think this would see play. Well, it ended up seeing play. Actually, like, everything came together for this deck in just the last few sets. I mean, if only they could play the Oh, there's no Belcher in standard. So, but I was thinking, like, you know, they basically have everything except the rituals. Doomsday, sorcery. Search your library and graveyard for 5 cards, exile them, put the chosen cards on top of your library in any order. You lose half your life rounded up. Except you don't even lose life in this case. Yes, in fact, a really good ritual. Honestly, rituals like this, I would think that they're like just stupid, janky crap. But they have a home. You never know when they're going to have a home. Mr. Ryan says, okay, I see a lot of people ask about the ideal one drop, and we always say Merfolk of the Parish, which we won't get. But what about blue 1/1 that gets +1/+1 for each other Merfolk you control? Yeah. I thought about this one as well. I think it would be okay. It wouldn't be perfect because it still depends on other creatures being on the battlefield. Whereas it's like, for example, to shrink that sort of Merfolk, they can just kill all the other Merfolk around it, and then it would shrink that one. So that sort of sucks. But maybe it would be good. I'm inclined to believe that it would be good and then I would just play in a more aggressive manner. Just putting more creatures on the battlefield, because it still could scale with 2 more lords on the battlefield. It would still contribute, definitely would still contribute to turn 4 kills that the opponent has to respect. Yes. You can use Empty the Warrens or potentially Dream Salvage and Emrakul to loop, reforge, and kill the opponent out. So there's a lot. So we have not seen the final form of this archetype yet. But this is definitely the deck to talk about. This is the deck. I don't know if this is the deck to beat, but this is definitely going to be one of the more interesting decks that's going to get tweaked over the next few months, especially over the next month, because it's obviously going to be a deck. I'm still inclined to believe that like the modern format is powerful enough to beat this thing, because again, like. Okay, so they have a second win condition in the sideboard with Thassa's Oracle. How do they mill themselves? Just out of curiosity. Does Goblin Charbelcher put them in the graveyard? No, they go in the bottom of the library in any order. How do we use this Thassa's Oracle? I have no idea. Unless one of these spell lands do it. Can someone help me? How do we use the Thassa's Oracle? Oh, they have the alternate. I didn't see Undercity Informer. Okay, I understand this one. Yes, so that one will mill. I didn't see it in the sideboard. Okay, so they have an alternate way of winning the game. So if you bring in, for example, they've got the answer to certain answers, because I'm certain that, you know, it's not hard to beat a card like Goblin Charbelcher. You play like Sorcerer's Spyglass or Pithing Needle or even Karn the Great Creator, and you're shit out of luck. However, yeah, Undercity Informer into Thassa's Oracle is definitely a line, and that can be manipulated with Recross the Path, so they can stack the deck to draw both cards and then cast them. And they can cast Undercity Informer with Manamorphose. They have Blood Moon. They have 1 Collected Company? That's a bit weird. What the hell is the point of that? Collected Company? Do you like Collected Company into your Thassa's Oracle and Undercity Informer? Oops. So with the trigger on the stack, sacrifice a creature. Target player reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a land card, then put those cards into their graveyard. So in theory, you stack your deck, you collected company into Undercity Informer and Thassa's Oracle. Thassa's Oracle's triggers on the stack, and you can sacrifice Thassa's Oracle to Undercity Informer's trigger. Is that what it's for? Like, what is the point of this collected company in the sideboard? I basically got it. Oh, I see. So instead of waiting to draw both cards, you're right. Okay, so you recross the path and you just put collected company on top and you just Coco into the 2 cards. But you still need a mana up. Like this takes 5 mana. I mean, whatever. I guess you just do it. You have a million rituals anyway. You'll have the 5 mana. The point is, yeah, you don't have to make the blue and the black. Even though we have Manamorphose. We've got Manamorphose in this deck. So, but yeah, collected company. That is so out of the box thinking. Well, this looks like, I mean, this looks like a legacy powered deck. I mean, it doesn't look super legacy like because it's a lot of 2 mana cards, but still, it looks so close to something that you would see in Legacy. It's a good thing we've got Force of Negation. Without Force of Negation, this format would go to hell incredibly quickly. Hypnosis 17 just subscribed. Thank you very much for the subscription, Hypnosis. Welcome to the wave, the great wave. And you can also now enjoy Twitch ad-free. And by the way, for anyone just joining us, I believe it's September. That's something I forgot to advertise. You can sub. I think it's half off. Someone can someone confirm to me if it's half off? You sub. I think it's like $2.50 instead of the normal $5. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. Yeah, exclamation point September. That's right. You don't think Force Negation going to be doing it? I mean, Force Negation is going to do something. It's not going to do nothing. Well, I mean, like, for example, Neoform, I'm not sure, but I think Neoform is more busted than this deck, and Force Negation keeps that deck under control very, very well. Very, very well. I mean, do you know what? I haven't played against this deck yet, so maybe this deck is even more busted than Neoform. And if they want, Pact can be in the mix too. We're gonna have Chalice on 0. Or they can have all this stuff, and I can just play like whatever. There's like, I think there are sufficient answers against this deck. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it plays out. Recross the path is pretty dangerous. So for anyone who can't see it on the screen, recross the path. Or is it paths? Recross the paths. Reveal cards on the top of your library until you reveal a land card. So anyway, you stack the deck. Put the card into play and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Clash with an opponent. If you win, return recross to its owner's hand. Recross the path. So it's going to be interesting. But as has been mentioned, this is only version 1, and most definitely can get better. It most definitely can get better. Maybe it'll become something like Amulet, just like Tuxdev noted. They can throw in, what's it called? They can throw in Force and Negation. I'm not particularly that concerned about Veil of Summer. I mean, they have only 4 Veil of Summers, but if you add 4 Veil of Summers and 4 Pact of Negation, now we're starting to reach a certain density of counter magic to actually protect their combo properly. And I do want to remind people that, like, Modern is still really fast. Like, this deck can go off on turn 3, but so can, like, Mono Red Prowess. So if you're on the draw, you can still lose to a bunch of other linear decks. This deck can also win on turn 2, which was Race Prowess. I think this version can win on turn 2. I don't know what the frequency is. The scary thing is the fact that they can win on turn 2. That's sort of brutal. So anyway, this is sort of the talk of the town at the moment. The list? I don't know what this is. The list is a catalog of 300 cards introduced in 2020 in the vein of the time-shifted cards of Time Spiral and Mystery Booster sets. It pays homage to past Magic the Gathering and similarly curated as the list for the Universal Promo Pack. The cards can be found in the simultaneously introduced set boosters. Starting with Zendikar Rising, the cards of the list can be found 25% of the time in set boosters. Oh. It's commons, uncommons, and rares. What about it? What about it, El Rodeo-san? Vlada just cheered 10 bits. At the list! El Rodeo-san. Reprints for core standard boosters. Oh yeah, I mean, I heard of this. I've never actually looked at the list, but like as far as I'm concerned, as far as I heard, it's not, you know, they're still relatively rare. But like they are reprints. Is there anything interesting in here? Is there... Ugh, I hate that they do it by like set. Like, who cares? Do it alphabetically so I can find exactly what I'm looking for. We're going to get Dryad Arbor is going to be a reprint. The list. Do they have Oboro on here? I feel like Oboro is a ticking time bomb. I have like an extra foil Oboro that I have to sell. Riptide Laboratory going to get a reprint. I can't see it, but probably not. Brainstorm, as if we need more brainstorms. Maybe they don't go back that far. I don't think they go back that far. Well, no, they do. They have Urza's Destiny stuff. Gemstone Mine. That actually sort of needs to get reprinted. Oh, they're reprinting Nykthos. Well, there goes my Nykthoses. Whatever. The list for anyone who wants to see cards that are about to get reprinted. I don't know to what capacity they are getting reprinted, though. Oh, yeah. The good old Control F. So if we go here, it's no fun using Control F. Is it not working on... Control F is not working on Firefox for some... Oh, no, it is on the bottom left. Oboro. It is not found. It is gone. The mystery has been solved. Nice Nykthos reprint for the people who need Nykthoses. Is Renin 6 on the list? Is Force Negation on the list? Okay, so now... Okay, so... Ren. Yeah, Renin 6 is on the list. They're reprinting Arkham's Astrolabe. They really should print Force Negation. I don't think Force Negation should be an expensive card, especially since it's going to become more and more mandatory to the modern format. And it's like, you know, it's like a commander staple as well. Ooh, Patron Wizard is getting reprinted. Trying to see if there's anything else. Well, just a brief look. Progenitus, as if we need more Progenituses in the in this world. Progenitus isn't worth shit. I don't even think people even like Progenitus that much. And if they want it, they can go get it. There's like a million GP promos out there. Progenitus is like a pretty clunky, I feel like that's a clunky thing to reprint. So we have like so many of them. It's a really feel bad card when you open it. It's just brutal. Yeah, we need to see the Charbelcher versus Neobrand matchup. It's going to be fantastic. Get your pay-per-view tickets, people. Get your front row seats. It's going to be the most miserable matchup of all time. Have you seen the No Land standard deck? I have not. Oh! Oh, okay, hold on. So how do these spell lands work with Treasure Hunt? They don't? They act as spells, right? Not as lands? Damn it. I was just thinking, we got to improve Treasure Hunt in 2020. They can go even if but it's, you know, just like how Belcher is not treating them like lands, they're not going to get treated like lands with Treasure Hunt. Damn it. So close. Let's see. Hold on, where was the I can't find the link because everyone's submitting their deck lists early, so I can't it's not easy for me to immediately find the link to what you're talking about. Let's see. You have to submit the link. You have to submit the link again. I can't find it. Not easily. Treasure Hunt will always get the short end of the stick. It's too bad. No, it wasn't meant to be. It was meant to be a super jank deck. I see you've never natural ordered into Progenitus in Cube before. I have not. Oh, here's the blue-white no-land deck. Okay, found it. I'm not much of a standard player, but we've got, okay, stream time, Zendikar Rising standard with free account from Wizards of the Coast. Blue-white, no land control. Can we get a little bit closer? I want to get closer. It's not actually making the picture bigger. We've got, I can't read any of these cards, but it's playing Amara Wizard. This is crazy. How many lands though is it playing? Case 4. I can see 4, 8, 12. They really made enough of these spells that you can make an entire mana base out of this stuff, and then you perpetually draw gas for the rest of the game. This is not standard though. When was Baneslayer Angel standard? Or is it? Or maybe Baneslayer Angel is standard. Sorry. When I look at Baneslayer Angel, I'm like, this is modern. No, this is totally standard, yeah. Yeah, it's standard legal. So Zendikar Rising will have both cards from the list and expeditions? Damn. Yeah, but the cards are still not modern legal. You gonna update Arena next 33 minutes to play Zendikar Rising? No. Absolutely not. I'm not that excited to play, like, I'm not excited to play standard. I don't play standard. I almost never play standard on this channel. I actually got beat by Treasure Hunt plus Zombie Infestation a few weeks ago in Historic. I have also lost to that combo. Because there's so many people playing that combo that eventually you're going to lose to it. So as we see with Saffron Olive, there are some no-land versions of the deck. And I'm certain that there's going to be some no-land versions of, like, decks sprouting up. Well, we'll see how consistent they are. They will never flood out. They will never flood out, no matter what. Even if they have to play a random 5-mana 4/3 creature, they are not flooding out, that's for sure. Yeah, it looks like foil Oboro is going for about $150. And I'm a bit concerned Oboro is going to get reprinted in the new Return to Time Spiral set, because they're like reprinting Chalice of the Void, and I don't think that was not in the original Time Spiral block. So they're going to reprint a bunch of cards that have not been reprinted before, in my opinion, and Oboro is one of those cards out there with only a single printing. And yeah, like the foil will collapse once there's a second version of the foil there. Of course, we're going to do deck reviews. We do deck reviews all the time. Yeah, Belcher became a legit deck. That's what we spent the first 20 minutes of the show talking about. So, concerning reprints, nothing is safe anymore. They are even reprinting the old artworks now. Technically, nothing is safe anymore. But at the same time, Wizards can't reprint everything, and that's why the overall value of Magic cards keeps going up. They can't predict what's going to be popular. They have some idea what some cards are going to be popular, but they don't know what everything. They can't tell everything. They can't tell exactly what everything is like. They don't know all the cards that are going to be popular. Some cards end up being like niche heroes out there. So I mean, yeah, they can try to print things to oblivion, but the overall the market of the cards keep rising and it keeps going up. It's just a harder game for the speculators, that's for sure. I wish they would reprint Wheel of Sun and Moon at least. Wheel of Sun and Moon. I've never heard of that. Is this really a card? It is actually a card. I thought you made this up. Wheel of Sun and Moon. Nice art. Enchant player. If a card would be put into enchanted player's graveyard from anywhere, instead that card is revealed and put on the bottom of that player's library. Enchant player. If a card would be put into enchanted player's graveyard from anywhere, instead that card is revealed and put on the bottom of that player's library. Is this like the first and only card that you can own and then you can give it to someone else's deck? I've never seen a card like this. I have never ever seen a card that you own and can go into somebody else's deck. Oracle text. It's not this card. It's just if a card. I read it. If this card would be put into a player's graveyard, well, then if you own it, it would go in your own graveyard. Okay, forget it. It's just like I see. It's just an anti-dredge deck. It's an anti-dredge thing. It's just like a curse. I read the card wrong. Reading the card does what the card does. I got excited for a second because we don't have any cards in Magic where you own the card, but then the card goes into that player into another player's hand or someone's deck. Mostly because I'm sure that would be a disaster. You'd accidentally take people's cards all the time. If a card would be put into enchant, if any card would be put into enchanted player's graveyard from anywhere, that card is revealed and put on the bottom of that player's deck, that player's library. So yes, so if dredge cards go in the graveyard, they immediately go in their library. So hold on, how does this work with Charbelcher? How does this card work? How does this card interact with Charbelcher? Does Charbelcher have to wait for the whole thing to resolve? Oh, Charbelcher reveals? Okay, that settles it. But there's got to be some cards, or maybe they're all reveal. Like Undercity Informer, target player reveals. All right. Helm of Obedience. Well, ideally with Helm of Obedience, they have Rest in Peace in play. What's the Oracle text? Target player mills a card, then repeat this process until a creature card or X cards. Oh yeah, okay, so how does this work with Helm of Obedience? Yes, deck analysis is definitely happening today. So you have Helm of Obedience and you have Wheel of Sun and Moon to yourself. Do you you think it would produce a draw? It just wheels their deck forever? Can someone produce this board state in Magic the Gathering Online and produce a video to show me what happens? And legally, I think legally you're allowed to do this in a tournament. No, it's well because there are some I can't remember what the rules are regarding infinite loops. On Magic the Gathering Online, it'd be weird and probably crash, I imagine. Sometimes sometimes how the rules work is that it would mill to a point before this effect happens. Like it's waiting for the entire Helm of I don't know if it's gonna be in this case scenario, but Helm of Obedience might fully resolve before Wheel of the Sun would do its thing. So it might just dump their entire graveyard and entire library into the graveyard and then just put it all back and then end. But I don't know. Non-deterministic plays are sort of banned. I know, I don't know the exact rulings around stuff like that. Well, I know you're not allowed to make plays that don't go anywhere, but if you make, like, you're not, I don't know if you're allowed, like, yeah, you're saying, like, you can't prove a draw with an infinite loop. You have to do something with it. But what if you activate, like, but if you make this activated ability, it's an infinite loop within the ability, but, like, that's it. It's just one ability. You're not actually doing anything after that. Seems like a busted combo. It's not really that busted. It doesn't actually go anywhere. If no one can choose to do anything different and no one wants to cast other effects, the infinite loop is a draw. Like this, yeah, this sounds about right. One example is 3 Oblivion Rings. If there are only 3 non-land permanents in play, you can't break it, so it draws. But if there is a non-land permanent in play, then I believe you are not allowed to loop the Oblivion Rings. GeForce, can you help me with the modern list if I sent you via Twitter? This is what this show is for. Submit it here because this is the day I take time to review people's lists. And we are going to get into deck list review right now. So if you have a list to submit, go ! Deck review space. Give the URL to your deck, plus leave any comments for this deck, and we are definitely going to take a look at it here. And while you're all submitting your deck lists, I would love to thank my sponsors, starting with themanabase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. And the Manabase is sponsored by Fusion Gaming Online, my favorite local game store. And their deal of the week right now is 15% off all gaming accessories. So deck box, sleeves, dice, binders, and more. Go check them out at Fusion Gaming Online. And also Mana Traders. Ugh, that doesn't look good. Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. You can support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or you can use my coupon code Nikachu to get 20% off your first 3 months. Mana Traders helps you play any deck, any format, anytime. We're going to thank Mana Traders for being our sponsor. So, yes, submit your deck lists. And as they get submitted, so this is the time. Like, it's I've heard a lot of content creators and people say that, you know, it's pretty exhausting going through everybody's deck. I mean, I'm certain if you send me a list in my private Discord, I will get around to it. I definitely would. I would be more than happy to. But outside of that, it's a lot of time to look at everybody's deck list that they're submitting to me. That's why I've got basically the morning show for that. Or if you're ever part of my Patreon Discord, I mean, you can submit a list there too. I'm more than welcome to look at lists in my Patreon Discord. Discord and private chat. Okay, so while people are submitting lists, we can start looking at some. I think people got the idea. What's my Patreon account? Just look up Patreon Nikachu MTG. Patreon.com/Nikachu MTG is my Patreon. I know I should have something in Twitch, but whatever, it's all good. For me, it's the afternoon. For me, it's the morning. Lord Magicus is good at linking it. Do we have like an ! Patreon? Oops. Maybe not. Maybe we don't have an exclamation point Patreon. The only deck reviews today. We've been discussing Charbelcher for like 40 minutes. Now, for the rest of the time, it's going to be Decklist reviews. Deck review pick. Thank you very much, Lord Magicus. You and Tuxdev are fantastic mods. All right. So what do we got here? G-Force. G-Force, congratulations. You are the next contestant on Decklist review. What is the format? This says this deck is not legal. You're doing some crazy stuff here. I guess you said it was a standard deck when really you meant it was a modern deck. That's fine. It's modern. Are you excited, G-Force? Are you excited? All right, let's take a look at your list. Oh, did you submit this not too long ago? Carrion Feeder, Doom Traveler, Hunted Witness, Stitcher Supplier, The Seer, Blood Artist, Cartel Aristocrat, Cruel Celebrant, Tide Hellscaller, and Zulaport Cutthroat. So this is the and you have Luris of the Dream Den. Or is this was this? Oh, you never submitted the list? Because someone submitted a list like this very, very recently. Oh, thank you very much, Branch Walker JV. So you can either support the channel through subscribing on Twitch, or you can support the channel by becoming a patron on Patreon. It's a budget list, so the mana base is a bit odd. But you're only 2 colors, so I think you're... Well, it is very... This is a little too odd. Let's see. 10, 10. This is actually really low. You have like... how? Okay, so I think the curve doesn't go any higher than... We need some... You're super budget here. If you can afford $19 for Stitcher Supplier... Stitcher Supply is $19. This is actually a super budget list. What are the best budget like lands? Can we need to put like 4 lands into this deck. And I imagine actually I'm not sure, maybe 10, maybe 20 lands is fine. But it still feels like we're really low on... Is Caves of Koilos budget? What the hell? Oh, Koilos. Okay, that's pretty budget. 62 cents, not bad. Caves is like 1.5. Well, if you get the Commander 2020 one, it's like 62 cents. Magic 2015, also 69 cents. You need more consistent mana, that's for sure. You just need it. You know, it's not even debatable. So I would add 4 Caves of Koilos. If there's another land that people can recommend, I'm all ears. Ideally, this land can't come into play tapped though, because of these 1-drops. I think you can get away with 20 lands. It feels low. But really, your curve is also really low. Is Isolated Chapel cheap enough? Oops. Why can't I spell anything? Yeah, this is a bit pricey at $5 US. That's $20. That's like more. That's almost as much as the rest. So it's as much as the Stitcher Suppliers. But mana base is really. I do want to emphasize this. Like even on a budget, mana base is really important, because if you don't have consistent mana, you're not playing your cards, and if you're not playing your cards, you're gonna lose games just on the spot. Like if you have a hand of like a bunch of planes, but you have got like the Carrion Feeders and a Stitcher Supplier and a Seer hand, the deck just won't function. It won't do anything at all. If you have a double Swamp hand and you can't play your Doom Travelers, well, Stitcher Supplier is a pretty core card to a lot of graveyard synergistic decks. Concealed Courtyard. This one might be a little clunky, just because this deck is playing so few lands. There's gonna be a lot of 1-landers. Oh, this is even more expensive. Oh no, that's a promo. 288, not too bad. Not the greatest. So pick your poison. I mean, the Painland. I could get behind the Painland. I could get behind Caves of Koilos just for this, because the rest of the deck is fine. You want to play this thing? This is cool. This is all fine. You have Luris from of the Dream Den to bring stuff back. So hold on, there was also Ancient Zig people suggested. This is also still a bit too pricey at $4. Like when you're budget, you got to go budget. So Caves would be my obvious choice here to make your mana a little bit more consistent. That might be enough. 14 sources for both sides would work. Fetid Heath. This is also $5. Too expensive. Also double-edged, because if this is your only land in your starting hand, like you have one Fetid Heath or two Fetid Heaths in hand, they don't produce any mana. They produce nothing. They produce colorless mana, which is useless. Yeah, there's no we can't I don't think we can play unclaimed territory in this list. What do you think is better, return to ranks or rally? What was the rally card? Rally Ancestors, I'm assuming you're talking about. Return each creature card with convert mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Exile those creatures at the beginning of your next upkeep. I think Returns to the Ranks is fine. Returns to the Ranks is fine. It's good, and it scales over time. I like it. I think it's okay. I hope 20 lands is enough. It honestly it probably is. You might have to take a mulligan here and there, but like the deck will function. So if you have 10 Caves of Koilos, take out. Ooh, what do you take out? You have to take out like 2 plains, 2 swamp, and you're only going to 12. Well, better than nothing. Because at 10 plains, 10 swamp, you're going to be mana screwed really often. 2 Tormod's Crypt, Burrington, Forge Tender. You know what? You could bring that to 4. Right now, this is well positioned. Like basically anyone playing white in Modern is going to 4 of this because it's just so important against the prowess decks. It's just so important. You got to go to 4 of these Burrington Forge Tenders. 2 more pass. Damping Sphere is good. Leonin Relic Warder enters the battlefield. You may exile target artifact or enchantment. Leaves the battlefield. Return the exiled card under its owner's control. So you can like steal Ensnaring Bridge with this. Tide Hollow Scholar. This is a card you should really have. I mean, I understand you might be bringing in against combo decks, but you should have. Ideally, this is a card you have in your main deck, and then it's not really a side. I don't think it's a sideboard worthy card. Now, I don't think. What are you bringing Tali Honor Guard in for? What is maybe 22 lands? You could go to 22 lands. 22 lands would make the deck actually way more consistent. I think that's a good plan. And if you have 13 basically of every source, that would help. Yeah, well, yeah, a lot of people think this Totality Honor Guard will help against Uro. I thought it would help against Uro, but I forgot that it screws up against the first half because creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. So you don't draw a card or gain life or put a land into play when Uro comes into play, when it initially comes into play, but it also doesn't go to the graveyard because that ability doesn't trigger either. So you just actually get to keep the damn thing. Yeah, so here's the problem. It doesn't actually work against Uro. It actually will work against you. You're just going to give them a 3-mana Titan on the battlefield because you play this turn 2, then turn 3. And I made this mistake like 3 times. I keep getting excited about these sorts of cards, and then I realize no, I don't even realize it. People have to remind me. When Uro enters the battlefield, if it did not escape, you have to sacrifice it. That is an ETB trigger, but that trigger is not going to trigger if you've got Tocatli Honor Guard on the battlefield. And Yeah, and Uro, as Carrick says, still gets the attack trigger. So this is actually not worth this is not worth being in your sideboard. So that I would definitely scrap this for the Burnt-in Forge Tender. I think that you got the right number of suppliers. You can play 4 suppliers. Actually, hold on. What are you so? Is your deck so good at being a supplier deck? Because you don't use anything from the graveyard, do you? You don't use anything from your graveyard except for Return to the Ranks. Now that you bring it up, I don't even think you need Stitch or Supplier. You could just play 2 more Tidehollow Sculler. Because you don't have any graveyard synergy in this deck, with the exception of... Or does anything get bigger given the number of creatures in your graveyard? I don't think so. Yeah, so you don't actually need Stitch or Supplier in this deck, period. You could fill that up with... You could take out 2 Stitch or Supplier. Sorry, you can take out 4 Stitch or Supplier, add 2 more lands, and add 2 more Tidehollow Sculler or Hunted Witness. I would say the Tidehollow Sculler, I think, is a fine play. And then you could take the Tidehollow Sculler from your graveyard, put it into your library, and then add more high-impact cards into your sideboard. So like more Burnt-in Forge Tender, maybe more Damping Sphere. I don't know what you want to use. There's other anti-Titan-like cards out there. What else is there? Can't think of it offhand. Fiend Artisan. Oh, this is the creature that you sack? This, honestly, the mana is difficult for this deck. Like, black is very hard. Even after we add 2 more lands and have dual lands in here, I think the black is going to be near damn impossible. You need about like 20. You need about 20 sources. I think it's between 18 and 20 sources to successfully cast something of one color if they both require the same color. So anyway, I think that's I hope that was some useful feedback. I wish I could give you more. Maybe more Path to Exiles in the sideboard. So you take out the Honor Guard, you take out the Tidehollow Sculler, put in the main deck. Fill it up with Burnt-in Forge Tender and Path to Exile, and you got yourself a deck. Is Woe Strider worth it? Where's Woe Strider? I would be inclined to say yes. I think this is a strong... I mean, I played against this in Historic, and it's fucking miserable. It's so strong. It's really good. It's like really good on attack, really good on defense, and because you get this sacrifice another creature scry, that's actually an incredible addition to this deck. And 3 mana is not too bad because that's like the top of your curve. That's the greatest curve topper that you could possibly have. Oh, but the problem is you'd have to sacrifice Lurrus. Try it. See if this is worth it over Lurrus, because Lurrus is a huge addition. Like, Lurrus is good. Lurrus is very, very nice to have if you can play it for free. But if you can't, but if Woe Strider is just way better, because it forces you have honestly you have a lot of sack outlets already. You have Carrion Feeder. I mean, make no mistake, this card is strong too. But you do have a lot of sack outlets between Carrion Feeder. What else? The Seer, Cartel Aristocrat. So you've got some sack outlets. You can try it if you want, but I don't think it's mandatory. Anyway, thank you very much for submitting the list, and I hope that was some useful feedback. All right, let's get some picks. El Rodeo Sans Decklist has been chosen, intended for Modern. Started as a silly idea, as many decks are, but actually ended up liking this build a lot, cramming flyers for evasion, gotta head to work, peace, y'all. All right, so El Rodeo San is not here to answer our question, so I will just give some feedback. It's intended for Modern, he said. Dauntless Bodyguard. So look, we have a knight deck. Flanking. I can't get my brain around what flanking actually does for this deck. Knight of the White Orchid. ETB. If the opponent has more lands than you can search for a plains card, put onto the battlefield. Thou's Lieutenant. Is everything a human? Yeah. White Shield Crusader, pro black. Can gain flying if you pay a white. And also it's a mana sink. Two white Shield Crusader gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Ardenvale Tactician. 3 mana for a 2/3 flyer, but also Dizzying Swoop. Tap up to 2 target creatures. Chalice of the Void, Smuggler's Copter, Ether Vial, and Force of Virtue. Ooh, this actually has a pretty nice, clean-looking list. Cavernous Souls, Mutavault, Plains, Sunbay Canyon, Grand Abolisher. This card has hosed me, but it was like really good in a combo deck. During your turn, opponents can't cast spells, abilities, or activate abilities of artifact creatures or enchantments. Core Firewalker, Rest in Peace, Dismember. A bit surprised by the Dismember. I mean, you got Plains. You can play Path to Exile. I'd be inclined to if you're bringing in Dismember from your sideboard, you're clearly doing it to kill creatures. You probably might as well just play Path to Exile instead. I don't know, and you only have 12 mana sources. It's a bit low. You could scrap 1 Cavern of Souls or 1 Mutavault for another Plains or Sunbay Canyon. Yeah, it might be because of the Chalice. They're sort of non-bows. I'm thinking in all the decks that I bring in Chalice, if they remove it from the battlefield, I mean, I guess this only matters the most against Prowess, that you need Dismember and Chalice on the battlefield at the same time. Oh, you are here. I meant to play Paths, oopsie, but it was because of Chalice. So was it a non-bow? I mean, I can see the non-bow, but there's a lot of Chalice these days is either going to shut off the Prowess deck outright, or if it doesn't, Dismember, you're probably taking a lot of damage anyway, and Dismember still also takes a lot of damage. Embereth Shieldbreaker in the sideboard. Oh, Embereth. Destroy target artifact. Well, that's not a concern. Because if you play Chalice on 1, it's going to counter it. Because it's on 1. Play the 2 mana path that can be overcharged to be a Wrath. I mean, that's possible, but like this deck's only playing 20 lands. To be honest, I just designed this off of Hayashi folk. Yeah, I can see the parallels. I don't know if you need Force of Virtue, but well, whatever. I mean, play test it and see if it does anything, because the nice thing in this list is because you're playing with Smuggler's Copter, you can just dump the Force of Virtue when it's not good or it's not doing anything. And you have 24 creatures, so that's cool. I don't know, this is a cool list. It looks pretty clean. You can keep, and honestly, you can keep the Dismember. I just don't know how good this card is going to be. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells, because this is better for a combo deck. You're just a creature-based deck. You might as well have like a 4th Core Firewalker and some other interactive spells, like some anti-artifact spells like Stony Silence. Oh no, you don't want Stony Silence. You have too many of your own artifacts that would hit. But you would have. I don't understand the point of this card, because it doesn't stop your opponent from doing all these things on their turn. And only it's only good against control if they let you untap with it. I mean, they can just kill it. If you vial it in play, if you use Ether Vial to vial it in play, they could kill it on your turn. So I probably just look at this thing to cut and just put something else in. I don't know if if this card is going to. I don't know if this card is going to do what you want it to do, or you have to explain to me what you want to do with this card. It's to play like 3 fairy, no instant interaction. But they can kill this. You have to get this in play. Well, I mean, I guess you could cast it on your turn, and then if it resolves, or you vial it in play on your turn and they can't do anything. I just like to fuck with it. All right, go for it. And who knows? Maybe this card is really underrated. I just don't see this card that much, not even in Death and Taxes or anything like that. So maybe this card has a lot more potential than I can see here. Anyway, okay, good luck with the list. I think it's a cool list overall. I like to see more people play. Like, there's so much potential with Ether Vial and Smuggler's Copter and like these monocolor lists, especially in white. They've got so many interesting cards at like a low mana cost. So anyway, good luck with the stuff. Cool list. Let's keep the deck reviews coming. Shadow Walker's deck list has been chosen. My list to grind the ladder, looking to add Skyclave Apparition by replacing the enchantments, but not sure because I lose to the big mana spells mostly. Are you talking about Winota? Okay, that's pretty cool. Winota's banned, right? Okay, hold on. What format is this, though? Oh, it's historic. So it's historic. Okay, run historic, and apparently we're playing Winota minus the Winota. Clifftop Retreat, Mountain, Plains, Ruins. All right, excellent. You're making full use of all the lands that are available to us. Forbidden Friendship. Light Up the Stage. Abrade. Justice Strike. Lightning Strike. Justice Strike is amazingly a good side. Like, this kills so many creatures. It's like basically, it's like a removal spell for 2 mana. Don't know how to put it. Glorious Anthem, Legion's Landing, Prison Helm, Seal Away, Hazaret the Fervent, Legion Warboss, Chandra Accolade of Flame. Okay, so first off, at first I thought you were going to go on the tokens route, but then you didn't. Like, you don't have, I don't know if you have enough tokens for Glorious Anthem. Creatures you can control get +1/+1. You saw Tybalt? We have Tybalt in here. Your opponents can't gain life. That's very important for the stupid life gain decks. Settle the Wreckage, Grafdigger's Cage, Gideon's Anthem, Gideon's Intervention, ETB, choose a card name. Opponents can't cast spells with the chosen name. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and permanents you control by sources of the chosen name. Seems like decent against Uro. Fry. Fry's in the format? Chandra, Awakened Inferno, Ajani's Last Stand. Whose list is this? This is Shadow Walker. Shadow Walker, you around? So it's like, my issue is you've got very few creatures in this deck to justify an Anthem. I don't know. I can't really defend this. I think you're better off. Like, I don't even know if like these token generators are enough in this deck. If you went full on many tokens, you had way more token generators. Like, I know you've got the Legion Warboss, but I still don't consider that enough. I could get behind something like Glorious Anthem, but as it stands, you're going to be like putting in just a few creatures on the battlefield and following that up with Glorious Anthem. Is that enough? Because I would much rather you went all in on Hazaret, like 4 Hazarets, 4 Legion Warboss, and sure, Chandra. Chandra deserves some love here. How are we going to introduce the Queen without an Anthem? We trolling today. See, well, yeah, that's a completely different deck. But you could run more token generators to justify this, or you could scrap it. If I go screw sweepers, I have 4 creatures on turn 3. Do you get enough creatures? Like what I'm saying is like instead of these token generators, you can just play like high value creatures. I don't know what those good creatures are for 2 mana. Um, like like a decent card is what's it called? Runaway Steamkin. Well, we need things at like 2 mana, I guess, because come on. Because at 2 mana, this thing becomes a 4/4 creature, and you don't have to remove any counters after that. You're trying to. Oh yeah, you do have. Oh, sorry, you do have Legion's Landing. How many Legion's Landing are you running? You are running the 4 Legion's Landing. Okay, so you have this. What's Prison Realm? Maybe you have enough? It's close. It's close. Okay, you know what? I honestly I forgot the Legion's Landing. It's close. It's very, very close. Chandra might also help you, like dig for more stuff. And also you create you can create some tokens every single turn. So Chandra's also like pseudo token generator. Okay. What are you trying to you're trying to climb the ladder. Where looking to add Skyclave Apparition by replacing the enchantments, but not sure because I lose to the big mana spell mostly. We mean big mana spells. What is Skyclave Apparition? When ETB, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent. Or exile up to 1 target non-land non-token permanent you don't control, convert mana cost 4 or less. And when it leaves the battlefield, they get an XX blue illusion creature token where X is the converted mana cost of the exiled card. I don't know if you need this card, to be honest. I don't know if you need this card. Well, in this case, you gotta get underneath them, and like you have to beat them very quickly. Which would suggest you should be like more heavier on the tokens. Well, okay, are there any other token generators? I know we've seen more token generators on this channel. Like you can go to 4 Forbidden Friendships. You've got Raise the Alarm. There's something missing here. There's a Goblin one. Like if you want to beat like those decks, your best bet is you have to race them or have infinite gas, because like things like a Braid and Justice Strike, they can just ignore it. They don't care. Yeah, maybe Instigator. Goblin Instigator, and that would that's fine. And so you have a lot more of those cards. Prison Realm. Sorry, creature or planeswalker opponent controls. This is okay. Forbidden Friendship. I like Light Up the Stage, to be honest, because Light Up the Stage. Krenko's too expensive. I mean, maybe it's possible. What's the mana base? We've got 22 lands. No, Krenko is just way too expensive. I wouldn't even try. So I don't mind Light Up the Stage because that keeps the gas coming at all the time. Goblin Gathering. Create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to 2 plus the number of cards named Goblin Gathering in your graveyard. That's a bit janky. And another thing that might have a lot of synergy in this deck, because you are blue-white, is again that elephant. Are you running Luris? I've made that mistake before. Okay, so you can play the elephant. The what is the Loxodon? Venerated Loxodon. So this will buff up all your tokens and also help you ramp this thing into play. And it's a pretty big creature in itself. And the thing you have to remove is you just have to remove some of this removal. Like you don't need that. I don't know how. Maybe you have 8 pieces of removal, and then have somewhere between 7 and 8 pieces of removal, and then everything else has to be like basically a threat. So you have to get rid of like Seal Away or Prison Realm or something like that. It doesn't leave you a lot of room to like add more stuff though. Garrison Cat? Because against those big decks, when Garrison Cat dies, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. And I would suggest trying to keep the lightning strikes, because against the big mana decks, they'll still be live even though when you have it. A Braid might be awkward. This should be maybe in the sideboard. Justice Strike, I think also maybe could go on the sideboard. Maybe you just have Lightning Strike in the main deck as some reach and potential removal. Because if you don't really need removal as much if you have like a million creatures on the battlefield and you're going wide anyway, and you can always leave like one creature to block, like if they have a really big creature. And between Glorious Anthem and Venerated Loxodon, you can make those tokens very large. Anyway, that's an idea, because you have a lot of removal in a deck playing with tokens. And like if you have like a lot of removal, your individual cards might as well be like really big creatures. A Braid is from the days of Citadel. I'm tuning, looking to update the list. Anyway, I would try to go more token. I would try to get more token oriented to take advantage of Glorious Anthem, and also just to take advantage of like Venerated Loxodon. And I think the rest is fine. I think you can play Chandra. I don't mind Chandra. Put a loyalty county on each red planeswalker you control, and you have like, oh no, but then hold on. You may cast target instant or sorcery card with convert mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard. If that card would be put into a graveyard this turn, exile it. Oh, but you can copy your token generators with this thing. In a deck with a lot of removal, you could go with Young Pyromancer, but like that's the thing. This deck is somewhere like in between, and I would rather just go more tokens. Let's screw the removal. You be the proactive person. You be the person that they need removal for. And if you have a bunch of tokens on the battlefield, it's going to be very hard for them to do that. So anyway, that's my get rid of Seal. I would try. How about this? Try removing all the removal except Lightning Strike, because that one can go to your opponent's face. So put a Braid, Justice Strike away, put in more token generators, add like another Forbidden Friendship, add 4 Venerated Loxodon, which you can ramp out and make all your tokens bigger, and then see how that works. See if it like puts the pressure on the opponent. And then sideboard, I have no idea. I can't really give you some advice because like I don't know what's going on in Historic right now. Oh, I have some idea what's going on in Historic, because there was a big event, but Historic is about to get shaken up because of the new format. Well, maybe just that's actually a really good point. Well, if you need removal at all, Conclave Tribunal. This could be a card that could go on the sideboard, because main deck I would rather not play this. I mean, maybe it's necessary. I don't know if there is like, because this is what all the token decks are playing, and you're in red white anyway. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I don't know where you last stood with this deck in Historic, but attempt at Historic aggro without Winota eventually turned into a full-on. Well, that's the thing. You're not a full-on token list. You're actually a little wishy-washy on the token list. You're like, you want to be a little bit of a token list, but you're like, you know what? I want like a lot of interaction and other cards like Hazaret. So like you could definitely be more token oriented. Don't try the Benelish Marshal. That's better for like a mono white deck. I don't mind you having Chandra, because that can cost, if you have enough of the Forbidden Friendships and what's it called, Raise the Alarms and other token. Like, I think there's one more 2-mana token generator. I might be wrong. You can flash those back from the graveyard, and I think that's good. Anyway, that's my advice. Take it or leave it. That's if you're going tokens, go tokens, and then everything will have synergy together. Is it gather the townsfolk? It might be gather the townsfolk. Is it gather the townsfolk that we're talking about? Not legal and historic. Sorry. Not legal. So you just have to wait for other things to come up. But that goblin creature, it would be fine. It's totally fine. All right. So that is it for Coffee and MTG today. We had some great discussion, and we also got to check out some really cool lists. People, of course, trying to figure out what to do in Modern, what to do in Historic. I wish I knew what to do in Historic. The easiest thing to do is just copy like one of the big lists at the moment. Jund, Goblins, they're all doing really good. Oh, that Jund Sacrifice deck is so annoying to play against. But that's gonna be it for Coffee and MTG. Before we go, please let me know what streamer we should raid. I'm gonna give that to all of you. Give some recommendations, and we'll snap raid them. While we are waiting for those recommendations, we had a fantastic day, and I had a delicious cup of coffee. It really gave me the energy that I need for the rest of my day. And don't forget, if you want to be part of the action, you want to be here live, be here at twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG. We do this Mondays to Fridays, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. If you want to be part of the discussion, the conversation, you want your deck list reviewed, come be on this show, and we will do that for you. You're eligible to be played at random. Canister. All right, let's go raid Canister. Canister raided me once, so we got to pay back the favor. I really enjoy. I watched Canister a little while ago. I really enjoyed his stream, and made me remember that such a weird card called Brother Man Bill existed. He has a lot of meme music on his show. I wish Merfolk could be used in Historic. Well, it can. It's just not as to the tier of any other deck on Historic. Thank you very much, Kuro, Hitsuki, and I hope you have a good day as well. All right, so thank you very much for being here with Coffee and MTG. We had a great discussion, and I will see you at the next cup. Take care. See you next time.